beautiful room, such a beautiful window and this vault.
You have to talk louder.
Oh, sorry.
Or closer.
Yeah. It reminds me when I was in college, I had a job in a deli that was in an old bank building, and there were tables in the vault. I got fired from that job. I was very frightened of the meat slicer. I am going to read some poems about car crashes, actually, and many of them are set near the Cherokee Indian Reservation in the Smoky Mountains. Well, my father's family lives outside of it, near it, and near the Nantahala Forest, which is a beautiful primeval forest, a kind of rainforest, that is where the Cherokees hid the few that were able to stay in North Carolina when Jackson was marching everyone to Oklahoma. This one is called Cherokee Roadkill. Every year, spring snow sugars the roads, and a lank-haired son of Sequoia High closes curving lashes in colory and opens them elsewhere. Some son like Kenny Arrowhead, who kisses me in the back of a Corvette, or like his brother who strangles his wife, then crashes the curve. Kissing, we drank from a clay-sided well, dank, sweaty as our upper lips, spicy ferns sprouting from the creek bank, cool as tongue. Stars bob like fishing lures in a cleft of the Smokies, and Kenny blazes into Nantahala in his Jeep Cherokee, fleeing his sister-in-law's ghost. Maybe he eats wrinkled berries of juniper and vomits pine. Maybe he snaps bloodroot to sip red sap, or steps on a red-boned cottonmouth flat as dollar bills and just as quick to strike. My fists pull lady slipper, trillium, Virginia snakeroot, medicinals, cash crops from the red clay banks of Pisgah, horse balm and turtleheads smoked in clay pipes of hags. Gingery as ginseng, this curve. Kenny Arrowhead dares God as he guns shoulderless bends like a believer, 30, 40, 45, and hairpins. It is up Pisgah. On a glistening washboard turn, he rolls in the snow. Cherokee roadkill, kids call it. Drive to Cullowhee, pay a soul to buy at the package store, chug-a-lug. Drive back on craggy curves that curve back upon curves. Whoever don't flash a brake light wins. Cursing, I cry, Kenny. A throttled gasp, like his own when he was flicked into the pools of Pisgah where God, deep and silts sinking, a whiskery catfish cruises the cold reaches. What dark movements rill the surface of what he breathes? So that was Kenny, who I was inspired by this boy I knew in high school, whose brother did kill his wife. And this is about his wife, the pharmacy clerk, Bryson City. She ferries scripts from counter to pharmacist's hutch, diabetics, widows with nerves, vets with invisible quivering limbs. She grows rich in prescriptions, Oxy, Halcyon, Prozac, Lipitor, amoxicillin, Percocet, Dilaudid, fits and violent fits, melancholic stupors, anxious drumming on the counter. She presses the keys of the register, a numerological accounting, pay for drugs, drugs pay. And sometimes she rose from the center of need into the golden frieze of fulfillment, avoiding the diamond-tipped noses of the rattled addict, the red-bone eyes of a cotton-mouthed addict, gasping trout leaping from the stream. She can hear the click click, click, slide into the slot of her own brain, red lozenge of numb. And this one is about I knew this lovely woman who worked at the bookstore in my town, which was, of course, a Christian bookstore, who was very kind to me and recommended things to read. She actually tutored at the local jail and ended up having a relationship with someone who got out, and he killed her. So I've written poems about her and some poems about him, and this is about him when he's a little boy. It's called Hogscape. Peel me a switch, Pops said, dragging him. All the kids calibrated heft to swish, reading the pick of the switch, welts on shins that draw blood or only blister. The hog pen was barren of grass, leaf, or any bush except poison sumac passed into hog lore. Hog pack, like 350-pound fish, flanked him, rippling, sides bristling, jaws scooping slops. His father told him, carry a stick. The boy carried buckets, slopping his sneakers with hamburger scraps, dollops of cream corn, heels of loaves and tomatoes, cabbage cores. He tipped into the rough trough and nimble, quick, hogs shouldered like choristers into a pew, wrinkling tensile snouts like chestnut halves, snuffling pulp and half-chaw. Pops said, those hogs'll nibble to the tasty eyeball. Scratch. And this is the same man. There's only one funny thing in here. He talks about mess. And I used to teach for the Bard Prison Initiative, and I remember in class saying, oh, are you going to the cafeteria? And one of my students said, mess, not cafeteria, mess. So, scratch. It was in jail it struck him. It wasn't chickens he hated, but their multitude. Scratching sawdust with spurred claws, sequins pinned where eyes go. Not watching as you shat between oak roots, then waded into Kathy's creek and sluiced off chicken creosote. One time, the first time he killed, he'd filled the plastic globed water trays and the metal feed trays and was moving the old wood door that kept the halt from the healthy, a chicken'll peck to death a sick peer. When a rooster, spurs cycling, launched into air near his ear, and the door slipped to the barn floor and flattened chicken to a hammered nail. Blood beaded its undid beak, like something you'd lick. It was like mess, that scratch and caw of roosters at the feeders. Here, too, he scooped feed into troughs, stink of salt and powdered potato goop. He and Pops had lived in one raw room off the horse barn, the two under a chenille counterpane in the chill of 4 a.m., pigeons fluttering above the plywood ceiling, cuckoo, cuckoo. That was the year of throwing pebbles at passing cars, 1975, and acid puddles at the A&P, a rat peeking from the cardboard stack. On the street, some reservation brave, feathered for tourists. Alki, Cherokee, $5 a snapshot. Next block, a black bear in a wire box, dancing, $5. The bear wavered like a bad signal, thick spit in its near toothless mouth, lips black as mud. He wanted to stone that bear wet. He would scratch his name into it and brain the drugstore brave, the dancing bear. Either, neither, both. And then this is called Barbecue, and it's actually for Gretchen Primack, who died yesterday, who is a very admirable and radical vegan. And we tease each other a lot. Barbecue. They say a cock crowed when Peter denied our Savior. Red comb like chawed meat, skull full of beans. But even Jesus knew chicken's got a doodle-doo. Wasps. We cohabitate with yellow jackets, mime their dressage of amber thorax, black stockinged feelers, severe knobs of head and tail. One a heavy horn of venom, the other masked. A hive is a house, is a town, is a county, is a state, thrumming within and stunted without. Press your head against the porous plaster of my house as I press my ear against your chest. There's the thrumming you expect, the buzz of the banal, but this formula has been altered. I could have been born a cardboard cone on a winding machine, a human bobbin shut as each skein wound and unwound, the human tender's arms going like pinwheels, empty and full, blurred wings. I could have been born a tongue, sounding among dirt daubers and mill workers' cottages. Oh wait, I was. Okay, one last car crash. There was the first crash on Kill Devil where my cousin crimped like a dog's ear the phone pole. They cut him from Chevy's metal skull with oversized shears. Teen King Stanley, my man, cracked up. This was in Cullery, Valley of the Lilies in Cherokee, an infinity for braves overwhelmed by the sickly scent of blood. They would suck Lily's sweetness into their ochre nostrils and hunt the buck again. Stanley's buck teeth gouged asphalt as he unstrung my pretty crew-cut red skin. Chevy's radio, tuned to Grand Funk Railroad's I'm Your Captain. So cool, this engine's Sunday school aid. Broken here and here. A resident scotch-taped Stanley's backbone to the buckboard, inflated his lungs with a bike pump, and we women, Bonnie, Sharon,